this is where it all shifts for the San Antonio Spurs, as there's a lot of questions heading into this season, as we're finally going to get a full season of De'Aaron Fox and another full season of Victor Wembanyama. Stephon Castle has been at the forefront of a lot of discussion, with two distinct aspects of his game needing to take a step forward, but with the addition of De'Aaron Fox, it puts one of them in a very questionable position. We got to dive into Stephon Castle's role and how this is the turning point not only for him, but for the future of the San Antonio Spurs. And we also have an interesting update on newly acquired Kelly Olynyk, and it's got a little bit of controversy around it, surprisingly. A lot of that coming up on this episode of Spurs Digest. But hey, I just wanted to remind you guys, we are this close to 10,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for tuning in every day, all off season long. You're a loyal viewer. We are loyal daily creators. Thank you for being here. I want to start with Kelly. Now, look, Kelly Olynyk, great addition this offseason. I mean, I think I speak for the masses in saying that the acquisition of Kelly Olynyk, look, it was Blake Wesley, Malachi Branham, fine. I think the trade was a good trade to bring in Kelly Olynyk just a number of weeks ago, because Kelly Olynyk, not only does he bolster that front court depth that we have needed, again, like, not that it was horrible, but it wasn't the best. You know, Sandro Mamukelashvili, who I still love, and I wish him the best in Toronto, Charles Bassey, these guys, Bismack Biyombo backing up Victor Wembanyama, or even Biyombo starting down the stretch last year. Switching that out for a backup center core. I mean, Kelly could play a bit of the four, but regardless, Luke Cornett and Kelly Olynyk is great, especially since Kelly Olynyk in 20 minutes a game last year shot 41.8% from three, averaged 9 and 5 with 3 assists. He can pass the rock too, if you guys didn't know. But Kelly fits this team very well. But that's not where the controversy comes from. There's a lot of people, and maybe even myself included. Is it crazy to say that? Look, he's going to wear number 8. And I don't know how to feel about this, because, like, it's not so much that I think number 8 should be reserved. It's just, I associate this with Patty Mills. I think a lot of people, from what I saw in the replies to this, Etienne Catalan has been, like, the force on jersey numbers on Twitter, so I believe this. There's been some talk around different social media circles as to, oh man, like, Kelly Olynyk is taking Patty Mills' number. But I say, like, look, who cares? Like, at the end of the day, it's just a number, and, people have been switching left and right. Keldon Johnson's going back to number 3. LaMarcus Aldridge took number 12, and as Bruce Bowen was like, you know what, that's okay, you can have it. It's Patty Mills' number. I don't think it would ever be retired by the Spurs, as much as he is an absolute legend. Of course, for the Boomers, for Team Australia, he's a legend as well. Number 8, look, I'm glad that someone new is getting number 8, because number 8 is now, thanks to Patty Mills' large part, a legendary number in San Antonio. Bit weird going to a big man from a point guard, but yeah, I'm kind of surprised by the amount of people that were, like, a little upset with this. It's a number. At the end of the day, it's not going to get retired, like I said, but I still will, I think, always associate Patty Mills with this number. But I just wanted to let you guys know, because that was a pretty new development right as I was preparing this video. So leave your thoughts on it down below. I'm totally cool with it. Patty Mills is still my number 8, but hey, Kelly Olynyk, maybe he can start a nice new generation for this. But I want to get into the big part here. Now, I was preparing to talk about Stephon Castle anyway, but as usual, Air Alamo, they post a bunch of great articles, and I always want to reiterate that we're not affiliated with them, but I just like reading their stuff, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. And Cal Direct posted a great article. Spurs playoff hopes hinge on Stephon Castle developing crucial skill. Now, he talks about a few different things here. I'm going to take my own path for this, and if you want to read what he had to say, I'll link it down below, because there's a lot in there that I am not going to talk about, because I think you should check out their article and not just come to me to read an article that you should go check out on your own. But he does say that Stephon Castle will have to adapt and thrive in the new role, as defense will also play a big part in his potential role. Castle showed the ability and has the physical tools to be a strong defender. Starting alongside Fox and Vassell means that he will likely be tasked with defending the other team's best guard and even some wings. So, he does talk about shooting efficiency at 1.2, which is kind of what I want to get into mostly. But I think it's a combination of these two, because this, to me, is a massive turning point for the Spurs in general, but specifically Stephon Castle. Because, look, Rookie of the Year last year, he is amazing, right? 14.7 points per game. The efficiency, I'm not worried about very much. He had to create a good bit last year. We'll see how the efficiency goes this year. I don't think last year is necessarily an indicator for what's going to happen the rest of his career or anything, right? The dude's still under 21 years old. He's young. He'll learn, and he just won Rookie of the Year. But his role, I think, will shift pretty drastically this upcoming season. And I just want to let you guys know why I see that, right? So with the addition of Dylan Harper, and also now getting a full season of De'Aaron Fox, this naturally means, and again, another full season of Victor Wembanyama, an improved Jeremy Sochan. Yes, Harrison Barnes is getting older, but regardless, the shots are not going to be there as much for Castle. the shot quality will probably be a little bit higher. Now, also, Stephon Castle could very well force the team's hand and say, look how good I am. I deserve more shots. And hey, I think that's absolutely real as well. Do I think it's a guarantee Castle's going to take fewer shots this year than last year? No, I think he could absolutely come out and play great basketball and come out there and say, look, hey, I'm taking 15 shots a game because I'm scoring 18, 19 points a game. If that happens, fantastic. But I'm just saying, in the reality of things, he's still a young guy. He's 20 years old, and a full season of Fox, bringing in Dylan Harper, the ball's not going to be in Castle's hands as much on the offensive end, and he's not going to have as many shots. So that's where I want to get into the defense, because yes, I tend to agree. You look at the starting five, and in terms of guys that are not named Victor Wembanyama, I mean, maybe Sochan too. I don't think it's crazy to say Stephon Castle is a better defender than Jeremy Sochan at this moment. I might still have Sochan, but it's hard to say because he was injured a bit this past year. We'll have to see the start of this year. But Castle has that potential to be a high-impact point-of-attack defender. And when you have guys like Vassell, who's a solid defender, Fox, fine, he's really quick, he likes to jump passing lanes. Castle's going to be that guy that's going to be tasked with guarding the other team's best, probably 1 through 3. If they're playing a small forward that's not like 6'10", Castle could very well be given that assignment. And I think this is actually where you see a big turning point, because even if Castle's points per game do drop a bit, which, like, I don't know if it's going to drop, maybe even if it just stagnates and he goes to like 15, maybe 15 and a half, I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think he's going to be able to have a lot more defensive responsibility, I guess I should say, right? Because of the fact that he will not have to do as much on offense. And I know it sounds weird to say he won't have to do as much. A guy just, 14 and a half points a game last year is not like that much. But with the addition of so many other guys who are going to take more shots, I think it's fine to give him a slightly lower offensive role, try and boost that efficiency, but really lock in as that all-NBA level defender, all-defense team, I should say, because that's where I think Stephon Castle can really land. But it's not just that, and I do want to reiterate about the shooting. Talk about this again. The Spurs were 8th in the league in terms of the percentage of their field goal attempts that came from three-point range, 44%. The Spurs is crazy. Look at those Celtics. 53.6%. That is beyond ridiculous, by the way. 53.6% of their shots were from 3, 46% from 2. Crazy. But the Spurs shot 44% of all their field goal attempts from 3. That's 8th in the entire NBA. What was their percentage? Well, it wasn't so great. They were 20th, bottom 11 in the league, 11th from last. 20th in the league in three-point percentage at just 35.7%. And when you break down our top shooters this past year, in terms of total three-point attempts per game, you have Wemby, Vassell, Champagnie, Fox, and Paul. And De'Aaron Fox, it's a 17-game sample, and his pinky on his shooting hand was busted. So I kind of want to throw that out. So if you throw De'Aaron Fox's tiny sample size out the window here, of the Spurs' top 10 shooters in terms of number of three-point attempts they took per game this past year, Castle was the worst. And I don't see that continuing, because I see, again, Castle being able to get more great opportunities from 3 as we have more better. I mean, Chris Paul is a fantastic passer, but we have more guys that can suck in the defense that can lead to nice, open, easy catch and shoots. Castle took some 3s off the dribble this past year. He didn't take a ton of them because, 79%, as you can see over there, of all his 3s were assisted. But these corner 3s, that 34.7%, I think can creep higher and higher. And again, looking at the percentage of a lot of these guys in the Spurs, league average last year, 36%. So, Wemby just below, he's been showing an increasing trend. Vassell just above league average. I feel like people act like he was below league average last year. He wasn't. Julian Champagnie, 37. Chris Paul, 38. Harrison Barnes, 43. Crazy. And yeah, Keldon was below, and we got Sandro Malachi. But it's Stephon who can really take that jump. And I think with a reduced on-ball offensive role, not even that it's going to be reduced, I think just reduced relative to the other guys around him, I think his efficiency is actually in a place to go up, while also being an unbelievable defensive talent, being that point of attack defender for this team, being that second, behind Wemby, most impactful defender on the Spurs. I think there's a world where that can happen. And I'm just saying, I don't think it's a bad thing if he gets fewer shots. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. This is kind of where my mind is going, because I really do believe that this season is a huge turning point for Stephon Castle. Crazy to say, maybe, that it's a turning point in his second season in the NBA, because that's a bit weird, I think, the fact I'm saying that. But at the same time, I think his role is going to be a lot more clearly defined this year. And I think we'll see how he fits in. And he's still 20 years old. He could very well be unbelievable in 3-4 years. We don't really know how it's going to completely change down the line. but how he fits with this current core. And I think that's very important as well. Finding his role, finding his pace, finding where he excels. And I'm excited to see it. And I think you guys are too. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on my take. Maybe you think I'm wrong. Maybe Castle's a 20-point per game scorer this year. I don't know if I see it, but maybe you do. I'd love to hear from you, because that'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. And if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment. Most importantly, hit that sub button. Almost at 10K. Thank you for tuning in every single day. Yes, even you. Appreciate you. Always, 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 always. I've been your host, Josh Gosse, and I'll catch you in the next one.